Hey friends! Oh, whoa! That didn't work out how I expected. Almost blew out both my knees. Hey friends, Ash here. Welcome back to Gents. Hope you're doing well. Got a little something for you if you love cologne fragrances. 10 newer cologne releases that you definitely need to know about. Some of these are clones of difficult to find, expensive fragrances. Others are clones of things that maybe fly a little under the radar, but you definitely want to know about the clone alternative because the quality to cost ratio is banging. And that's what we're talking about here today. All of the fragrances will be linked in the description. Let's jump straight into it. We're gonna kick things off with this little beauty right here. An interesting look. It's French Avenue Lumier Garon. Lumier Garon. Yeah, it's an interesting name and an interesting presentation. Now, the box for this is actually pretty slick. It has a slip cover, it's heavy, it looks good, the quality is nice. It has a little felt feeling to it, and that carries over to the cap, as you can see right here. Or not felt, maybe velvety, maybe that's a better description. So this is French Avenue, which is an offshoot of Fragrance World, and this is a clone of a fragrance that is in extremely high demand and is pretty difficult to find in the US unless you want to pay up a pretty good penny. A pretty good penny? Sure, we'll roll with that. And how much is that pretty good penny that I mentioned? Well, as of this video on eBay, probably $250 or so, something like that. And what fragrance is that I'm referring to? Well, when you hear, it'll make sense, color scheme wise. It's the One Luminous Night. Now you might be saying, wait, Ashton, wait a second. Fragrance World already has a The One Luminous Night clone. You're right, they do. It's this one, the one and only Moonlit Night. And yeah, this one is one of those ones where just nothing left to the imagination. You can just take a look and know immediately what that is. But this is not just a rebottling of this. Actually, they don't smell super duper similar. Between the two, Lumier Garon is going to come across the higher quality scent, at least in my opinion. And this is not a fragrance that's the direct, exact same as the One Luminous Night. It's what you would call a twist. That's what we call it nowadays, right? A twist. This is going to be richer, deeper than Moonlit Night. And this was good when it came out and everything, but this is going to supplant that, in my opinion. This is just the higher quality scent. As I said, richer, deeper, you get more of that spiciness. You get that date coming across, that date note, not like an actual date with another human being. That's not what I'm talking about. Although you could wear this to one of those, it would work. I think the main twist for me is this comes across like it has maybe more of an emphasis on incense than the One Luminous Night. So you could think of it like that, kind of like the One Luminous Night with a focus on incense. And that fragrance had incense. It was a prominent note, but maybe just a little more going on right here. So this one, the One Luminous Night. This one has popped up at Triple Traders, and some of the other fragrances you can find at like Fragrance Buy or maybe the Perfume Box, JOMASHOP, the Oud store. So there's a lot of different places that carry clone fragrances. You may have to look around a little bit depending on which one we're talking about. And before we hop to the next fragrance, here are some codes to save you some money across pretty much all those websites I just mentioned, actually. So there's new codes for JOMASHOP and the Oud store. The JOMASHOP one is only good on the app, the JOMASHOP app, and that one is going to change in like mid-September to something new. And then Fragflex has a code, Triple Traders has a code. So again, all those websites you can find different fragrances, different clone fragrances, the Perfume Box, and you can use those codes to save yourself a little money. Let's go next to this one. This is from Luciano. And this one is called Mystic Dream. And Luciano has a lot of different fragrances in this style, in this bottle style, and you can tell right away what these are. These are Louis Vuitton clones. This is, I think, the newest one, at least as of this video. I picked it up pretty early on Fragrance Buy's website. They launched it not that long ago. And this is a clone of Imagination. It's a really good one, really, really good. So if you like citrusy fragrances, citrus forward fragrances with a good amount of freshness and sweetness, you gotta scoop this stuff up. Luciano has really solid stuff by and large. if you're looking for alternatives to Louis Vuitton fragrances. So this is obviously, just like Imagination, going to be more of a spring, summertime fragrance, more of a daytime fragrance, but they really nailed it as far as getting how Imagination comes across on a shoestring budget. And so you're going to get those aspects from Imagination other than the citrus, you know, a little touch of cinnamon, ginger in there as well, so some fresh spiciness, neroli, some tea as well. Just very well done, great for warm weather, and another Luciano fragrance with surprisingly fantastic quality for a low price. Now, kind of a funny one. This is called Nuke 2.0. Yes, Nuke 2.0. And this one is Fragrance World. I mean, you can take a little gander here, probably have a good idea of what this is supposed to be. Can you think of any other fragrances out there with a little pull tab that look like a grenade? To be fair though, this looks like what, like a gas grenade or something from Call of Duty, you know, instead of a fragmentation grenade. Maybe it wouldn't be a gas grenade, maybe it'd be an incendiary grenade. I don't know. Gas grenade, incendiary grenade. Somebody's gonna flame me for this. You should know, bro. But yeah, this looks like a little spicy, bomby type thing, and that's what it is. This is most similar to Spice Bomb Extreme, but it is not the exact same as Spice Bomb Extreme. I will say the atomizer on this, as you just saw, is actually really good, which is actually kind of a surprise, because when you look at that atomizer, I don't know to you, but to me, that doesn't scream like beast mode quality. And yet then when you spray it, boom, just a huge cloud. And I know when it comes to atomizers, like there can be cheap atomizers that actually work great and expensive ones that actually don't work all that well. But it is one of those things where sometimes you get a fragrance that's really inexpensive, the atomizer works perfectly. Maybe it doesn't look as nice as some other more expensive fragrances, but then those other ones, the atomizer is trash. It just confuses me sometimes, is all I'm saying. Like, you would think if you're gonna put a fragrance out that's very expensive at the retail level, that you would want the atomizer to at least like function. There have been some fragrances here over the past year or two where you try to spray them and it's just like, then you get a $15 fragrance and like, guys, this is the easiest thing to not F up, the atomizer. You just stick it on top and you spray it. Just make sure it sprays. That's your entire job. But some people mess that up. Back to this one, okay? We're back in. As I said, Spice Bomb Extreme, but maybe not quite as spicy. It has sweetness to it. It's got that sweet aspect from Spice Bomb in there. I think officially in the note breakdown, it has like vanilla, tobacco, and also whiskey or rum. It's got like a boozy note to it. So it's got that sweetness, just not quite as much of the like heavy spicy side. It's not that it's devoid of it, just that's the difference. Still really nice off the skin. Again, very sweet and a nice alternative to Spice Bomb Extreme. Stay on there. Although this thing, it likes to come right off. From there, let's talk about this Giovani Genuine Man Reserve. Whatever could this be? Whatever could Giovani Genuine Man Reserve be? It resembles nothing that I've ever seen in my entire life before. That gradient, that bottle shape, that name, totally foreign to me. Oh wait, no, it's Gentleman Reserve Privé. That's what it is, yeah. And it's a really solid one, actually. And I'll tell you what, I'm not wishing this into existence. I probably shouldn't even say it, but should Reserve Privé ever be discontinued, something like this would be so important. But thankfully that hasn't happened. Still, if you want Reserve Privé on the cheap, this is one that gets you very close, very close. If you spray side by side on your skin or on a strip, you can pick out, you know, little things here or there. You can split some hairs and find some differences. But if you spray this on with just like the remembrance of Reserve Privé, then when you smell it, you'll be like, oh, that is close to spot on. Absolutely wonderful. That iris aspect comes through in a very appealing way. You know, a little creamy, boozy, sweet, woody. Smells awesome. So if you're like me, big fan of the Gentleman line, big fan of Reserve Privé, this stuff is killer. Let's talk next about Lataffa Pisa. And this bottle is heavy duty. This stuff has legit heft to it. If I did a little toss just like right here, and let it hit the desk right here, it would put a dent into it. It is sturdy. It also looks really nice, actually, in my opinion. I know, you know, when it comes to cologne fragrance houses, the bottles can be ostentatious, they can be tacky. It's just how it's always been. And I mean, you could look at this and think that it's, you know, kind of riding the line right there between looking cool and looking tacky. You know, it's not quite as gaudy as a Paco Rabanne fragrance, I would say, but it is busy, right? I mean, it's the Tower of Pisa. But when you look at it, the detail is nice. Like I said, it's very heavy in the hand, so it doesn't feel cheap at all. I think it's nice. The fragrance itself, also really nice. And I don't think this one is on Fragrantica yet. I don't know why, but it's not up there. Actually, there's not a ton of information about this one in general, which I find kind of odd because you look at it, presentation-wise, you would think, oh, this is one that Lattafa is gonna like be getting out everywhere, you know? But surprisingly, not as easy to find a whole bunch of information on it as you would expect, at least as of this video. How's it smell? Well, it's kind of in that, you know, that style of something like a Bulgari Tiger, Tarathi Blue, maybe even Imagination, things like that. It's kind of in that wheelhouse, you know, that style of fragrance, that citrus forward, high quality type of summertime scent with nice sweetness. It's not bubblegummy or anything like that. A little green freshness to it as well. I think it smells fantastic. Really, really nice just the whole way around. You can tell thought was put into this. It's one of those ones you can spray on. It smells fantastic immediately. No waiting for the dry down, no waiting for the opening to settle, nothing like that. Just right from the rip, this stuff is good to go. Amazing for spring and summer. I really, really like this. Then we have Spicy Amber. And this one looks a little similar to the fragrance that it is inspired by. And this is French Avenue. So again, French Avenue fragrance world, you know, 6 dozen. And this is a clone of Encens Suave from Matière Première, and it is quite good. Like I said, you know, it looks fairly similar, but as far as just high quality clones, getting it real close, that's what this is. So as you can tell by the name, Spicy Amber, and also the original Encens Suave, it's got kind of a incense forward scent profile with resinous aspects. Bit of sweetness in there. You know, it's got sweetness that carries throughout, but it's not an overwhelming sweetness. It's more of a dark, almost balsamic at times kind of sweetness. Really well done. Extremely good quality on this one. And ooh, a great alternative. Butterfingers today, blow out my knees, throwing bottles. After that, we have Tribal Gold. This is from Grandeur Elite, and this is the second fragrance that I've picked up from this house. The other is their La Nuit de l'Homme Bleu Electrique clone, and this is a clone of Le Male Elixir, and it is pretty well done, and a bit of a surprise. To be fair, their La Nuit de l'Homme Bleu Electrique alternative is really good too, so it probably shouldn't have been a surprise, but you know, it's one of those things where you expect sometimes just like the big clone houses to come out with the stuff that's gonna really hit, and then sometimes you got like a new player that comes out and they put out a few things that are really good, gets your attention, and you're like, oh, maybe these guys are gonna be something big down the road. I don't know. I guess we'll see. But they did get one thing right, as you maybe just saw. The atomizer. No excuse, high-end brands, expensive brands, whether we're talking designer, indie, or niche. Don't hit me with your $200 fragrance with your 2-penny atomizer that's straight garbage when you have something like this with the freaking pressurized atomizer shooting clouds. Anyway, as I said, Le Male Elixir, that's what this is. Kind of the same vibe as this one, where if you spray it side by side with Le Male Elixir, you can pick out a couple things here or there and say, oh, this is a little different, that's a little different, but at the end of the day, it's gonna get the job done. And if you're not doing a direct comparison, you'll know immediately that this smells like Le Male Elixir, whether up close or in the air. Another one with good quality, good performance, everything you want in an inexpensive alternative. Now this next one is a little funny to me. When I unboxed this one, I was like, oh, that's interesting. It's extremely unique Pista. So when you look at that, it looks reminiscent to some other clone fragrances that are clones of Xerjoff fragrances, like this bottle style. And then the cap is reminiscent of Suspiro, right? So kind of Xerjoff bottle style, kind of Suspiro cap style, extremely unique Pista. You mean like a Ferrari Pista? No, like a pistachio. So yes, what you are thinking is true. This is a clone of the very popular Yum Pistachio Gelato, hence the coloration here. It all makes sense now. Now, if you've never smelled that fragrance at all, it is a feminine leaning fragrance, most people would say. So do be aware of that. You got a lot of sweet notes in there, other than pistachio. That's not the only thing in there, and gelato. There's also whipped cream, marshmallow, tonka, cotton candy. There's a lot of notes, actually. You can, check it out, but there's a lot of sweetness going on in there. And this one has that sweetness, a little bit powdery as well. Early on, it settles in with like a bit of powder underneath, and that sustains for a while. But if you're looking for a cheap alternative to the Kayali, you can get this one. After that, we have Hayti Bow. This is from Fragrance World. And this one I thought was kind of interesting because at first I was like, Hayti, that's Lattafa. Because they have like 3 or 4 fragrances that have that name that are in this bottle style. But this is actually Fragrance World. So same name, same or similar bottle style, but different brand. And this is Hayti, as I said, Bow, and that gives you a pretty big hint as to what this is, and kind of goes along with the coloration, the color scheme there. So let's put on our thinking caps. What could it be? What could it be with the name Bow with this kind of color scheme? And I just can't seem to get this cap just straight the way I want. It is similar to Le Beau from Jean Paul Gaultier. So it's gonna give you that coconut tropical aspect, coconut and tonka, that's kind of the main thing there. This one does to me take on like a little bit of powdery aspect to it, but it's really similar to Le Beau in that style. So if you're looking for another cheap alternative to Le Beau, you can check this one out. Do be aware though, it's gonna have that little sort of twist aspect to it. There is also this one from Fragrance World. It's Jean Gustave Amaze. And that one, very obviously, you can tell what it is. I would say the Jean Gustave is a little more sweet on the fruity side of things, and that the Hayti Bow over here is more of that, like, again, almost semi-powdered tonka coconut. Both are solid, but they go about it in different ways. I just wanted to bring this one up as well. So now they have 2 out there. And last but not least, the new Club de Nuit Précieux 1 from Armaf. Mine always is doing like a little wobble. See that? It's like it's just maybe not quite wide enough. It wants to fall half the time when you sit it down. And since this is Précieux 1, I can only assume we're gonna have more Précieux to come later. Took the cap off and it took the atomizer with it. There we go. Now this is supposed to be like a higher end Club de Nuit. It's a little more expensive in terms of cost per milliliter because you do get the smaller bottle size, but overall the quality is higher. And this is a take on Absolute Aventus, which I probably don't have to tell you, being a creed and being a more expensive creed is pricey. And this is actually really darn good. I mean, Armaf, they do have some fragrances that have come out over the past few years that have not really wowed me, but at the same time, when they hit in a big way. And this to me is really well done. It stands out against the other Aventus style fragrances, and it stands out even more against the other Club de Nuit Aventus style fragrances. Darn good. So if you want a high quality Absolute Aventus clone, absolutely check that stuff out. I think it's great. So there we go. There are some of the newer pickups, newer clone fragrances. Some really good stuff. Some of this fantastic for fall and winter. some better for spring and summer, but overall, again, the quality of the cologne fragrances just keeps creeping up. Thank you guys for hanging with me. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys later.